question. Who organized the client dinner? Who remembered the dietary restrictions? Who sent the thank you notes? Who noticed the typo in the final draft? Who smoothed over the partner's tantrums with the junior associates? And who got credit for any of that? Anyone? Anyone at all? Welcome to I Am the Advocate. I'm LawBooBoo, and today we're talking about all the work that keeps the world spinning but somehow never makes it onto your performance review. The invisible labor that's as essential as oxygen but apparently less valued than a flashy cross-examination. Spoiler, you probably did some of it today before you even opened your email. Remember the slow rot of Sunday nights? Half that dread was knowing you were walking into a week of this exact nonsense.
Segment 1. The invisible infrastructure. Story 1. The details detective.
I spend hours proofreading other people's work. Not just typos, but the big things. Citations that would have been wrong in court. Clauses that contradict earlier clauses. Dates that make no sense. I fix formatting, recheck cross-references, and smooth out awkward sentences. Then, the client sends an email. The document was flawless. Thank you, Partner X. Partner X, who didn't even glance at the final draft before sending it. Ah, yes, the quality control ghost. You're the reason the firm looks like it knows what it's doing. You saved them from public humiliation. But because the humiliation never happened, they don't even know it was a possibility. It's like in episode 1, holding it together in the bathroom stall. The performance of okayness is only visible when it cracks. Disaster prevention works the same way.
Pause for thought.
Imagine if you stopped. Imagine if you let that typo about the pubic hearing slide. Suddenly, everyone's calling an all-hands meeting to address quality control issues. And guess who they'd ask to fix it? Yep, you.
Story 2. The emotional janitor.
I'm always the one checking in on the new trainees who look like they've been crying in the bathroom. I'm the one smoothing over blow-ups between two paralegals. I'm basically a full-time emotional shock absorber, but apparently none of that counts as real work. The emotional labor Olympics. You're keeping the whole ecosystem from imploding, but since feelings aren't billable, your contribution doesn't count.
Pause for thought.
What would happen if you stopped doing this emotional maintenance for 1 week? How fast would everything fall apart? Picture it. The associate who hates feedback storms out. The paralegals stop talking to each other. The partner wonders why morale tanked overnight. That's the value of your invisible work. The place would be chaos without you.
Story 3. The memory bank.
I remember everything. Client preferences, important dates, who's allergic to what, which partner refuses to work with certain opposing counsel. I'm like the firm's external hard drive, but it's just expected, never acknowledged. If I vanished tomorrow, we'd be in court calling a judge, Your Majesty, while serving prawn laksa to the client allergic to shellfish. You're the human database, keeping everything running smoothly. But institutional memory isn't sexy. Preventing awkward situations isn't dramatic. Being reliable is just expected. So challenge number 1, start documenting all this invisible work. Not for the credit, for the reality. Track how much time you're spending on organizational maintenance. You might be horrified to see that you're running a second job without a second salary.
Segment 2. The competence penalty.
Let's talk about my favorite workplace paradox. The more competent you are, the more invisible you become. You're so good at your job that people forget you're doing it. You make the difficult things look effortless, so everyone assumes it's easy. If you prevent crises before they happen, they think there were never any crises to begin with. This is the Competence Penalty. Your reward for excellence is invisibility. Your prize for being indispensable is being taken for granted. Meanwhile, the person who creates drama gets attention. The person who barely meets deadlines gets praised when they actually deliver. The incompetent people who bring chaos and then get applauded for problem solving it. Meanwhile, you're just doing the work and somehow disappearing in the process.
Story 4. The Smooth Operator.
I keep case files on track so clients never have to chase us. I'm the reason there aren't 50 reply all email chains about missing attachments. When I got the flu and was out for a week, suddenly everyone was panicking because they couldn't find things, deadlines were missed, and clients were asking, what's going on? Did anyone connect the dots? Nope, they just said, glad you're back. The smooth operator syndrome. You're so good at preventing chaos that people think chaos prevention is your natural state, not a skill you're actively using.
Pause for thought.
Have you ever noticed that when incompetent people do the bare minimum, they get praised? But when you do exceptional work, it's just another Tuesday. That's not an accident. That's the system training you to accept less recognition for more work.
Segment 3. The Gender Invisible.
Now let's address the elephant in the room. A lot of this invisible work has a distinctly female flavor, doesn't it? Who sends the meeting notes? Who remembers birthdays? Who notices when someone's struggling? Who organizes the team lunch? Who smooths ruffled feathers? Not that men can't do this work. They just haven't been trained to think it's their job. Meanwhile, women have been trained to think it's their responsibility, even when nobody asked them to do it.
Story 5. The Voluntary Voluntold.
I always end up organizing firm events, every team lunch, coordinating schedules, and making sure people have the meeting link. Nobody asked me to do it, but somehow it always falls on me. When I stopped, people said, "You've changed. You're not much of a team player." The voluntold phenomenon. It means, I know you're asking, what is a voluntold? It means mandatory volunteer. You're not assigned this work, you just somehow became responsible for it. And when you try to stop, suddenly you're not a team player. Here's the trick. This work is essential, but it's not valued. It's feminine, but not respected. It's necessary, but not compensated. So challenge number 2. For 1 week, only do the work that's explicitly in your job description. Watch how fast people notice what you are doing voluntarily. Watch how many things suddenly become urgent and land in your lap, or better yet, fall apart without you.
A special segment for my family lawyers. Segment 3A. The Peacekeeper's Burden.
A quick detour for my fellow family and divorce lawyers because you know exactly what I'm talking about. We don't just draft affidavits and argue in court, we peacekeep. We spend hours diffusing conflict between clients, co-parents, and even opposing counsel. We smooth over misunderstandings so that the kids don't get caught in the crossfire. We write emails we know will be ignored just to put something calm in the record. And we get calls at odd hours because that's when the meltdown is happening. And here's the kicker. None of that really shows up in the billables or in the judgment. There's no line item for prevented escalation that could have wrecked a child's life. There's no award kept for, we kept both parties calm enough to sign the agreement without throwing chairs at each other. It's the invisible work layered on top of our visible work. And it's part of why burnout runs so deep in this field. If you've listened to episode number 2, Your Boss Isn't a God, you'll remember how some bosses thrive on drama. In family law, you're often managing the drama on both sides of the case. So, challenge number 3, start tracking your peacekeeping time. Not because you'll be paid for it, but just so you remember it's not extra, it's work, and it's worth recognizing in yourself, even if nobody else does.
Segment 4, Mental Inventory Check.
Mental inventory time for my invisible warriors. Think about your average work week. How much time do you spend on tasks that aren't technically your job, but somehow became your responsibility? Organizing, coordinating, remembering, preventing, smoothing, fixing, following up, checking in. Now, imagine billing for all of that at your hourly rate. How much money would you make just from your invisible work? That number represents the value you're giving away for free every week, the work that keeps everything functioning but somehow doesn't count. Your invisible work isn't less valuable because it's invisible. It's more valuable because everything depends on it.
Segment 5, the Appreciation Audit.
Here's what really gets my claws out: the appreciation gap. When someone does flashy work, wins a big case, lands a client, gives a presentation, they get thanked publicly. Emails, recognition, LinkedIn likes, maybe even a bonus. But when you prevent a disaster, silence. When you make someone else look good, crickets. When you keep the wheels from falling off, not even a thank you. If the work you do keeps the ship from sinking, you should get more than a vague, "oh, thanks." You're not asking for a parade. You're asking for basic acknowledgement that your work matters, that your contribution has value, that you exist in the success story, not just in the background.
Segment 6, Litterbox Wisdom.
This week's Litterbox Wisdom: document your wins even if no one else sees them. Keep a private list of all the disasters you prevented, problems you solved, and smooth operations you enabled. Not for anyone else, for you. When you start to feel invisible, read that list. Remind yourself that your work matters even when the applause is silent. And remember, just because your work is invisible doesn't mean you have to be. And maybe, just maybe, you can share it at your next review. Sometimes you do have to make the invisible unmissable.
Closing.
If you've been the invisible infrastructure this week, I see you. If you've ever cried in the bathroom stall, like in episode 1, or battled a God complex boss, like in episode 2, or felt that Sunday dread, welcome to the family. And if you've got a story about thankless tasks, I want to hear it. Use the anonymous link in the show notes because that's the only way invisible work gets noticed. We have to drag it into the light. This is LawBooBoo reminding you, just because they don't clap doesn't mean you didn't save the show.
In recognition of unrecognized service.